Hello and welcome to Coiled. In this video, I'm going to walk through the steps and show you how to generate a performance report so you can understand how your code is running on a coiled cluster and how your Dask computations are scaling. So performance reports are a useful way to capture information that you probably are used to seeing in a live dashboard. So if I go to the Dask documentation under the diagnostics section, there's some information about different ways that you can look at how your computations are running on a Dask cluster. There's what most of you are probably familiar with, the Dask dashboard. This shows you tasks as they're being run and different information about CPU and RAM usage of the workers in the cluster. There's another way to capture this information that doesn't require a live computation happening, but it will actually save a lot of that same information into a static HTML file. So this is nice to keep around in case you want to look at diagnostics after the computations run, after your cluster goes away, or if you want to share that with others. In fact, there's a lot of Dask issues where a performance report is requested and someone will generate an HTML file and share that with the person looking into an issue. So inside of Dask, this performance report exists, and in Coiled, similar functionality exists. It actually wraps the exact same functionality to generate reports with Dask, and it uploads the HTML file into Coiled Cloud, which makes it easy to share with other people on your team, or even with some of the Dask experts here at Coiled to see how your code's performing and scaling. So I'm going to walk through the steps and show you how to do that. We have a documentation page in Coiled that talks about performance reports, how to generate them, and how to use this context manager to wrap your own code, and how to view performance reports, how to work with performance reports in a team account with the account keyword argument, or how to set a performance report to be publicly or private in terms of its visibility. So let's walk through the steps and we'll see what this looks like on a real cluster and the Dask computation. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create a Dask cluster with Coiled. In this case, I'm using a named cluster that's already spun up just for the sake of time. If you're spinning this up yourself, it'll take about a minute to provision all of the instances and nodes to bring your cluster up. Once your cluster is up and running, we can go ahead and connect Dask to it. So we'll point the Dask client to your remote coiled cluster. And finally, we will view the cluster dashboard. So here's a link where I can open up and see the task stream and also the status of the workers in terms of CPU and RAM. So this is the information we'll watch live, and then we'll save this to a static performance report. So let's get to the Dask computations. Here I have a very simple Dask array computation where I'm doing a transpose, calculating a mean along an axis. So here I'm going to run this computation. So right now I can flip over to the Dask dashboard and I can see different tasks running. And there's the result. And a lot of you might often time this. So you can use cell magic in Jupyter to time your computation and see, did it take 1 second or 5 seconds or 10 seconds to run. So this one took about 7 seconds of wall clock time. That's a great way to see, how things are performing in terms of runtime as you optimize and tweak your code. So now that we've done those kind of simple runs, let's take the same exact code here with Dask Array and wrap it with the Coiled Performance Report context manager. So here I'm going to import performance report from Coiled and use that context manager to run the same computation. So I would see the computation running here in the Dask dashboard. And then when this concludes, it is going to put a link here that will link directly to my performance report in Coiled. So basically here, it's generated a local HTML file that I can open up in my browser and look at as usual. Or what it's done is given me a link to a performance report here on my Coiled Cloud account. So I can click that, open it up, and here is all of the information from that particular Dask computation, all shown here in the browser. So I can go here anytime, even after the cluster has gone away. I can look at how long it took to run, how many tasks run, what the compute time was, information about the cluster, what code called the Dask computation here, and I can look at the task stream. So this is a great way to look after the fact and try to understand if there was good parallelism across the nodes, If there was a lot of waiting going on for serialization, the red here, the red boxes show any serialization or communication that's happening between worker nodes. So it's a great way to hold on to all of that and share it with someone when the computation is done. You can also look at CPU usage across the system, scheduler logs, and then you can actually break out and look at profiles on the worker nodes versus the scheduler, which is a great way to understand overhead that's happening to the scheduler versus actual work. And finally, bandwidth. So these are all great ways to capture what was done during computation and be able to hold on to it, share it with others, or even record some of that performance as you have different runs over time. Of course, I can list all the performance reports in my account and go back to look at any particular performance report that I ran previously. So to recap, performance reports are a great way to take code that you maybe have been running with Dask or recently switched something over to Dask or just want to know how it scales. How does it work with 5 nodes, with 10 nodes, with 100 nodes? With Coiled, it's very easy to scale up and then run a performance report and look to see if the scaling behavior is acting as you think it should. So check out our performance reports in Coiled, check out our documentation page. And in fact, this would, if you have some code that you're looking at right now, whether it's using a Dask data frame, Dask array, Dask delayed, this is a great time to wrap it with this context manager, one line change to your code, and then run through it. And after that, you should have your own performance reports in Coil that you can share with other folks, or you can reach out to us and we'd be happy to talk about optimizing your Dask computations, best practices. So hope you found this helpful, and we look forward to having you try things out and get in touch with any questions you might have. Thank you.